pretty much shocked the world when he did the operation in Venezuela. That showed that he's not going to be necessarily an isolationist, and he is willing to use intervention when he believes it's necessary. So perhaps that suggests he might do something in Iran, but it's much more difficult to decide and figure out what we would do in Iran. I think the protests are overwhelming, and the regime is having a very hard time dealing with them. But many of us are skeptical that there can be actual regime change in Iran without an armed opposition or without an intervention from another country. So far, that intervention has not happened. Also, there isn't an armed opposition, and there doesn't seem to be a plan to arm the opponents of the regime in Iran. So we have to worry that the Iranian regime could at any point turn to violence, kill protesters, detain protesters, torture protesters in order to put down the uprising. I don't agree with John that we could do an operation that is surgical precision. In other words, a limited operation like we did in Venezuela to take out, a few leaders, and that would result in regime change. The IRGC and the regime are committed to having Iran continue to be a clerical state. And I don't think they're going to give that up just because they lose a leader or two. I believe that there's going to have to be an armed opposition. Again, you either have to arm groups inside Iran or you have to have foreign troops on the ground. I believe that's the only way that there's actually going to be regime change in Iran, because the Iranian regime is so good at repression, has the tools to put down the protests if they want to do that. There's going to be a lot of backlash if they do that, but I don't think they're going to loosen their grip unless they are confronted with arms, either from a foreign intervention or from the arming of groups inside Iran.
Yeah, I think right now, many people waiting to see exactly what the president does decide to do. David Tafuri, former foreign policy advisor for the Obama campaign. John Thomas, Republican strategist. Great to get your thoughts tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.